Yu Lian woke up suddenly and sat up, her body trembling. Behind her, in the warm bed, her young son was still fast asleep. The sky outside was still dark, and most people were still dreaming. Only then did she breathe a sigh of relief. The He family's housekeeper was already up, and faint cleaning sounds came from the hallway. The dream she had just seen was so strange that when she saw her son, He Ningen, being hurt in it, she couldn't calm down for a long time. Her heart was still pounding. Thankfully, it was only a dream. Her precious child was safe and sound. Thinking about it carefully, the He family was at the height of its power. How could they possibly lose everything? The dream was simply too absurd. While she was lost in thought, a hurried knock came from the door. "Madam, something's wrong. Your family called. Your sister has been sent to the hospital again." "I understand. Don't wake the child." Since marrying He Lin 4 years ago, Yu Lian had lived alone with her son in this small Western-style house. He Lin rarely came by, and when he did, it was mostly to see the child. After getting ready, Yu Lian went downstairs, gave a few instructions to the nanny, and left in a hurry. Can you believe the young madam? She barely looks after her own son and runs to her family's house every day. TSK, some women only rely on their looks and luck. Yu Lian knew the servants gossiped about her behind her back, but she didn't care. Her marriage to He Lin had been a calculated move, one she had forced through. Half an hour later, she arrived at the hospital. Her sister was still in the treatment room getting stitches. "Lian, I'm so sorry," her mother, Wang Meixia, said with guilt. "Your sister was cooking early this morning. While reaching for something, a metal box fell from the cabinet and hit her head." Yu Lian listened quietly. She had money now, especially after her sister's illness had been cured. She had saved enough to support the family for a lifetime. But she had never given her mother a single cent. The reason was simple. Her widowed mother was too soft-hearted, so much so that her relatives had taken almost everything from them over the years. When her sister suddenly fell ill, Yu Lian had been desperate. She had set aside pride and morals to secure her position, becoming the decorative wife of the He family's eldest son, a powerful businessman in Yun City. For years, she had endured criticism and disdain from those around her. At first, Yu Lian still felt sad, but now she had learned to ignore it. Her younger sister had been saved and now had a healthy body, able to play freely like other children her age. Wang Meixia noticed that her elder daughter was acting strangely today. Instead of worrying about her sister, she just sat there silently, lost in thought. "Lian, did the He family treat you badly again?" She reached out and patted her daughter's shoulder. "It's my fault. I've caused you so much trouble." Yu Lian looked up, her mind filled with confusion. The strange dream she had that morning matched reality. Her sister's hospital visit wasn't because of her old illness. On the day her sister accidentally hit her head and was sent to the hospital, a major policy change happened. The He family was caught off guard and quietly surrounded by officials, and in the end, their property was confiscated. In an instant, the He family's houses, factories, and bank accounts were all frozen. They were only allowed to take a few clothes and personal items. "What time is it now?" She grabbed a passing doctor. The middle-aged man wore a wristwatch. The doctor looked at her curiously, noticing the tension in her eyes. "Comrade, it's 6:17 in the morning." In her dream, the He family's property was seized at 9 o'clock before their family members left home. The other estates were raided half an hour later. She thought of how her son would meet a tragic end and how the He family members would suffer during the political struggle. Yu Lian couldn't sit still. She grabbed her bag and ran out. Then she stopped, turned back, and handed the bag to her mother. Earlier, she had thought her sister's illness had returned, so she brought all the family's cash. Now she realized fate might be giving her a chance. "Mom, this bag is very important. Please keep it safe." Wang Meixia, who had always been weak and frail, had never done much for her daughter. Seeing her daughter so serious now, she nodded firmly. Lian, go ahead. Your sister, and I will wait for you here. Mom, please don't lose it no matter what." After saying that, Yu Lian ran out of the hospital without looking back. She planned to hurry home before dawn. According to her dream, at this time no one was watching the house yet. She had to go back quickly and take out whatever money she could. It was already too late to warn the He family. Their home was surrounded by investigators, and even their phone had been monitored for days. When the nation was founded, the He family, who had donated more than half of their fortune and become known as red capitalists, still couldn't escape the coming storm. Fortunately, the hospital wasn't far from home. Yu Lian ran all the way back, steadied herself at the door, and forced out a few tears. The housekeeper cleaning at the entrance quickly noticed her return. "Young madam, why are you back?" Yu Lian sniffled twice. "Ailing, stop cleaning. My sister has to be hospitalized again. The doctor said her old illness has returned. I'll pack some bedding and stay with her tonight." "What? How could that happen? Wasn't she fine not long ago?" "I don't know. Early this morning her heartbeat went strange, her whole body turned pale, and she almost fainted. She even hit her head on the stove and needed stitches. She spoke while crying, hurrying into the house. Her return caused quite a stir. As she went upstairs in tears, the two maids exchanged glances and shook their heads. They already knew that Yu Xian was frail and often in and out of the hospital. They sighed quietly. Poor Yu Xian, she might have to live in hospitals for the rest of her life. "Mom, why did you come in from outside? Be good and listen to the two aunties. I'll be back when it's morning." It was still dark in winter. The little boy, woken by the noise, rubbed his eyes and yawned softly. Yu Lian wanted to take her son with her to escape the coming disaster. But even if she hid in the hospital, she couldn't hide forever. As the daughter-in-law of the He family, she would inevitably be investigated. It was only a matter of time. Carrying big bags and a child would draw too much attention and raise suspicion. Her son wasn't short of money either. As the only grandson of the He family for 7 generations, he was spoiled by everyone except his strict mother, who kept him well-behaved compared to other children of similar background. While speaking, Yu Lian quietly opened his piggy bank. The money in the credit union couldn't be touched. Once the investigation began, anything connected to the He family would be checked. Only cash could be used now. Fortunately, she was well known, so no one would question why she suddenly had no money left. Yu Lian gently coaxed her son back to sleep, then tied the bedding she had prepared with a rope, slung it over her back, and left the house. She looked anxious, but before leaving, she reminded Ailing, "Remember to cook it a bit longer so it's more nourishing. Bring it to the hospital before lunch. We're still on the 3rd floor." "Okay, I'll deliver it on time." Yu Lian left, stepping through the morning dew. She carried a quilt and a pillow on her back. Inside the pillow were small bundles of money and coupons, enough to support a large family for more than 10 years. She glanced at her watch. There were less than 3 hours left before the He family would be searched. At the hospital, she took the cloth bag from her mother. Yu Lian looked at her younger sister. The pain from her wound had been so bad earlier that Wang Meixia had told her to close her eyes and rest. "Mom, here's the lunchbox. Go to the cafeteria for breakfast first, then bring some food back for my sister." "I'll stay with her." At Yu Lian's insistence, and because the doctor was worried that such a serious injury might affect Yu Xian's heart, they arranged for her to stay in the hospital for 2 days of observation. Once her mother left, Yu Lian quickly took the money from the bag and hid it inside the pillow. She checked her watch again. Soon, she would have to go back home with the child and continue pretending as planned. Time passed slowly. At 8 o'clock, her sister woke up from the pain and apologized to her. Xian, focus on getting better this time, all right? You need to fully recover." "Okay, sister. I won't act on my own again." Yu Lian nodded. Her sister was a good person, just a bit too much like their mother. But unlike their mother, her sister always supported her decisions. "Good. I'll head back now." "Mom, come in and stay with her. It's cold outside." "All right, I'm coming." Wang Meixia had been chatting with other patients' families in the hallway. When Yu Lian stepped out, her mother stood up. "Mom, I'm going home. Anin is still alone there." "Okay. Be careful on the way. I've already paid for your sister's hospital stay." I still have over 20 yuan and 20 jin of food coupons here. This is your food money for the month. Don't contact uncle again. Don't worry, I'll stay here at the hospital. I haven't contacted him. There was only 1 hour left before the house search. If she returned to the villa now, and then took an in to the old house, the timing would be perfect. Only by walking into the trap herself could she prove she truly knew nothing. This actually lessened her suspicion. With her grandfather and father's status, no one would dare to treat the granddaughter of a national hero unfairly. Before going back, she planned to visit her parents' home to find something that could protect her. She needed to locate her grandfather's and father's medals and certificates. These could be life-saving in critical moments. Realizing time was short, she rushed out, truly racing against the clock. Fortunately, she was always organized and prepared, and she had the keys to the small courtyard in her bag. She knew exactly what she needed to do. After gathering everything, she handed the boxes to Grandma Wang next door for safekeeping. Xiaolian, what are these things you're guarding so carefully? They all belong to my grandfather, she said. I plan to donate them to a museum. These are the medals he earned during the war. I want future generations to see them and carry on his spirit. Her firm and powerful words made Grandma Wang see the same proud and passionate spirit that once shone in her grandfather and father. Good, good. You truly are from the Yu family. Though Grandma Wang lived alone, she had also served in her youth. She had been both the women's director and the neighborhood committee leader, always the first to carry out new policies. Leaving the medals and certificates with her was the best choice. It would keep them safe and might help Yu Lian if anyone came to investigate later. After saying goodbye to Grandma Wang, Yu Lian knew she didn't have much time left. Her sister's recovery was thanks to the He family. Yu Lian had always been strong and proud. Now that she finally had a chance to repay their kindness, she wanted the He family to see how a determined woman like her would return a favor. After picking up her son, Yu Lian hurried straight to the old house. When she arrived, it was not yet 9 o'clock. The He family was having breakfast together. Their expressions darkened slightly when they saw Yu Lian, but when little He Ningen suddenly jumped out from behind her, their faces softened again. Ningen, come sit by Grandpa. We have your favorite egg dumplings today. Having been dressed and taken out in a rush, He Ningen was indeed hungry. He climbed onto his grandfather's lap and began eating happily as the family lovingly fed him. Seeing the cheerful little boy brightened everyone's mood, and no one paid much attention to Yu Lian, who sat quietly at the end of the table. If it weren't for the child being so attached to his mother, the He family would never have allowed her to take him with her. The He family, who had a very poor opinion of her, believed she couldn't raise a good child and feared she would be a bad influence on He Ningen. So they often asked her to bring the child back, but every time she came, she asked for money. Over time, the He family agreed to give her 1,000 yuan at the beginning of each month, on the condition that she brought the child over every day. Usually, she came after lunch, but today Yu Lian arrived much earlier. Heelin glanced at the woman beside him. He had secretly given her an extra 1,000 yuan just yesterday. Why was she asking for more again? Why are you looking at me like that? Yu Lian absent-mindedly watched the time, but Heelin's gaze was too intense to ignore. I'm just wondering what you're planning this time. Their voices were clear enough for everyone at the table to hear. At that moment, He Jiangwo coughed lightly. Husband and wife should be more understanding of each other. You two should focus on giving me a few more grandchildren. That's what really matters. When he was younger, He Jiangwo and his wife had tried hard to have more children, but their efforts were in vain. Some were stillborn, and others were lost before birth. After nearly losing his wife, while giving birth to their only daughter, he never dared let her take that risk again. Perhaps that was simply the fate of the He family. As the family chatted around the table, the cleaning lady suddenly rushed in, panic written all over her face. She barely managed to say something was wrong before a group of people in blue uniforms entered, followed by armed soldiers. In an instant, the house was surrounded. Even someone as experienced as He Jiangwo never imagined such a day would come for their family. After all, they had once given up nearly everything for the country, and it had taken 2 generations of effort to rebuild what they had. When they saw the red armbands among the crowd, The He family immediately understood what was happening. There was no chaos or destruction, just quiet, efficient action. Everyone in the He household, including the servants, was taken away. They were interrogated one by one in dark rooms. There was harsh questioning, mental pressure, and unbearable pain mixed with the freezing cold. It was a nightmare. Only Yulian's situation was slightly better. The moment it all began, she held her son tightly in her arms. Before leaving the house, she had the foresight to pin her grandfather's most honored medal, the People's Engineering Medal, inside her coat. When she and her son were locked up together for questioning, Yulian calmly described her daily life. They tried to accuse her, saying she lived off the wealth of capitalists. Yulian, however, caught the flaw in their words. "Excuse me, sir, but I earn my living through my own hard work. How can that be called living off others? My grandfather would never agree with such a claim, and my father, who gave his life for the country, would not accept it either. If they knew that their own daughter and grandson were being treated like this, it wouldn't just break my heart, it would sadden all the soldiers who once defended our nation." Her firm and powerful words left everyone speechless. Seeing how sincere she was, they still had some doubts. "Do you have any proof? You can check for yourself whether Yu Xing is my grandfather and Yu Jinbu is my father." Everyone knew those names well. When Yu Jinbu died years ago, the news was published nationwide. One was a national hero, the other a respected veteran who gave his life for the country. But how could his daughter have married a capitalist son? Holding her child, Yulian took out a medal from her pocket, tears streaming down her face. "I wanted to donate these medals to the war museum so children could learn from the spirit of the older generation. But before I could, I was accused and locked up." She cried in frustration, and her little boy began to cry with her. "Mom, I miss Grandpa," he said. Yulian almost laughed through her tears. Her son had never even met his grandfather. The two officers in charge of the questioning had never faced such a situation before. The medals she brought were clearly real. "Take them away for now. We'll release them once everything is verified." That was said at noon. By afternoon, Yulian and her son were set free. This was thanks in part to Granny Wang's help and the suitcase full of medals and certificates she had brought earlier that morning. As Yulian looked back at the building, she didn't know where the He family members were, though faint cries could be heard from inside. Afraid her son might hear, she quickly took him away. Just moments earlier, she had signed a document cutting all ties with the He family, clearly stating that her marriage to Helin had not been of her own free will. These past 2 days, the He family was about to face some trouble. "Mom, where's Dad?" "Oh, he went on a business trip out of town. We'll see him in a few days." Really? Sometimes having a clever child wasn't always a good thing. Of course, would I lie to you? They were taken by assigned personnel to a separate residence. The authorities allowed them to pack some personal belongings, but there were strict limits and multiple inspections. Yulian didn't think much and packed 2 sets of warm clothes and some undergarments. A kind woman, seeing her situation, having to raise a child alone, pretended not to notice and let her fill an entire suitcase. "Thank you, ma'am. I'll take my child back to the hospital now. You don't need to see us off." In just 2 hours, the investigators had learned everything about Yulian's family, including how she had rushed to the hospital that morning because her younger sister was admitted. After confirming the facts, the investigation team made an exception and released Yulian and her young child. As for the He family of 4, they couldn't escape punishment. They had all confessed, and now they just had to wait for the organization's decision. Once Yulian was sure no one was following her, she hurried home, put away her luggage, and went to fetch the suitcase from Granny Wang. "Girl, I know you've been through a lot. I'm just glad you're safe. A family like the He's never deserved you." Granny Wang had watched Yulian grow up and knew her character well. She wasn't the greedy person others made her out to be. Everything she did was for her seriously ill sister. So when the investigators came, Granny Wang spoke up for her, even using her own reputation as a guarantee. She also showed them the medals and certificates of Yulian's father and grandfather, which finally eased their doubts. "Thank you, Granny Wang." By the way, the country is encouraging young people to go to the countryside now, and each family can only keep one child. Since I'm divorced, maybe I should go. Granny Wong was surprised. But you still have a child. Your father's gone, and you get a government subsidy. You already have a stable job. You don't need to go. Granny Wong, I'm not afraid of hard work. For the sake of our country's development, young people like us should set aside personal worries and take part. When my sister gets better, I'll let her take my job. She's not strong enough for field work, so an office job would suit her better. Granny Wong was moved to tears by a few words from Yu Lian. She never expected to meet such a thoughtful and determined young woman these days. Granny Wong, I just have a small request. I'd like to go to the Red Star Farm in the Northwest. I have a good friend from school there, and they really need people.
Don't worry about that.
I'll make sure it's arranged. But I'm still a bit uneasy about a young girl like you going to such a faraway place alone. Thank you, Granny. I'll do my best to help with the work and live up to your expectations. After chatting for a while, Yu Lian excused herself, saying she needed to deliver food, and quickly left. What worried her most now was the money hidden under the hospital pillow. Had it been found? If it had, everything would be over. Mom, this is for you. He Ningen, who hadn't spoken for a long time, suddenly put a jade pendant around her neck. And then, where did you get this? From Grandpa's box. Yu Lian didn't remember seeing it before, but it looked real. Maybe it could even be sold for money. She lifted the pendant and examined it. Its design was unusual, not a simple Buddha or guanyin, but more like a small pouch or bag. It didn't seem like something her father would have bought, and it couldn't have belonged to her mother either. If her mother had owned it, her uncle's family would have taken it long ago. Just as she was wondering about it, Anin began to cry. A large tear fell onto the jade pendant. Yu Lian saw the tear being absorbed into the stone. The next moment, she found herself in a completely unfamiliar place. Anin, still in her arms, kept crying, not noticing that everything around them had changed. Mom, I miss Dad. She didn't have time to comfort him. The place looked exactly like the paradise her father used to describe in his stories. Suddenly, she remembered how her father had always managed to escape danger, as if he could appear and disappear at will. His enemies even called him a ghost on the battlefield. Now, she began to connect the two. In her father's stories, there was a soldier who could enter a hidden paradise through a sword. With that thought, Yu Lian found herself moving back and forth between reality and this peach blossom land. She also remembered her father saying that there was a spring in that place that could heal any illness. Eagerly, she began to search for it. At some point, He Ningen had fallen asleep in her arms. Based on her memory, Yu Lian found the spiritual spring behind the house. The water was sweet and refreshing. After taking a sip, she felt all her tiredness disappear, just as her father had said. Excited, Yu Lian believed that her mother and sister could now be saved. When she decided to go alone to the northwest to repay the debt owed to the He family, what worried her most was leaving her mother and sister behind. But with this spring, she could finally leave without worry. What caught her attention most was what her father had said. The Peach Blossom Land was not just a magical space, but a place where everything inside could be endlessly renewed. Anything planted there would grow without limit, meaning she would never lack food or water again. Yu Lian was overjoyed. Now she understood how her father had lived through countless dangers and finally died on the battlefield. The jade pendant had brought both fortune and disaster. Without it, her father might not have been careless and lost his life. She realized she must treat this item with great caution. Her father had already shown her, with his life, what a painful lesson truly meant. After leaving the Peach Blossom Land, Yu Lian thought carefully. Everywhere she had seen was filled with grains, vegetables, and fruits. There was also cotton and in the distance small hills rich with coal. Winters in the northwestern mountains were harsh. Yu Lian didn't know if fate was giving her a sign, but since luck seemed to be on her side, she couldn't waste such a chance. In just one day, she had received many hints. From now on, she would follow her heart. When she returned to the hospital, she asked her mother and learned that the investigation team had indeed come by. Perhaps because her sister's head injury was too serious, the bandages had made them reluctant to disturb the patients further. Wang Meixia only answered 2 simple questions, and the investigators didn't trouble them. When she heard that her son-in-law's family was under investigation, Wang Meixia wasn't sad. She thought that at least her daughter wouldn't have to live under their control anymore. A harder life was still better than that. Yu Lian handed her son to her mother and asked her to take him to the hospital cafeteria for a meal. After they left, she closed the door and told her sister about her plan to go to the northwest countryside. "Don't get upset. Listen to me first," she said. Yu Lian didn't hide anything from her sister. She was going there to save the He family and repay the kindness that had once saved her sister's life. Yu Xian had always thought her sister didn't like her cold and distant brother-in-law. Now that she had cleared her name but still wanted to stay involved, wouldn't the He family hold a grudge against her? "Don't worry. Your sister is capable and can take care of herself." With just one look, Yu Xian understood what her sister meant. That made her feel at ease. While their mother was away, she found an excuse to go out, holding a cup in her hand. When she came back, the cup was full of water.
Drink this.
"I'll watch you. Drinking more water is good for you." Yu Xian had always listened to her sister. Whatever her sister said, she did. She finished the water in a few gulps. "Sis, where did you get the sugar? This water tastes so sweet." "It's good that it's sweet. Take a nap, and when you wake up, your head won't hurt anymore." With her sister by her side, Yu Xian slowly fell asleep. Later, Yu Lian waited outside for her mother and told her about her plan to go to the countryside.
What?
"If you leave, what will happen to me and your sister?" Wang Meixia's health was poor, and she couldn't work. Her younger daughter had just recovered and wasn't ready to work either. Both of them depended on Yu Lian. "Don't worry, I'll send money regularly. Of course, I'll let my little sister handle it. But what about Nin? I'm afraid he'll cry at night if he can't find you."
"He'll come with me.
"I'll take care of him myself." Who had ever heard of someone taking a child to the countryside? But Yu Lian had her own reasons.
You don't need to worry about that.
"I still have 2 months before I leave. Just take good care of yourself and my sister, and don't try to contact Uncle." She had gone through a lot that day, but after drinking the spring water, Yu Lian didn't feel tired at all. That night, she held her son in her arms and slept peacefully. A week later, the He family was released. The father and son had clearly suffered some pressure, while the mother and daughter, who had admitted things early, hadn't suffered much. The official in charge told them to go home and pack their things. On the way, they learned that Yu Lian had already cut ties with the He family that very day, saying she had been forced into the marriage by He Lin. When He's mother heard this, she almost fainted. She couldn't believe what kind of daughter-in-law they had brought into the family.
Still, it was better this way.
From now on, whatever happened, good or bad, had nothing to do with her. But for now, they had nowhere to go. They could only wait in their emptied house for the final decision from above. A week later, the decision was made. Their whole family was sent to the Hongxing farm in the mountains of the northwest for labor reform. That night, they boarded the train. During the day, one of He Jiangwo's old friends came to visit him. The man held a high position. After saying a few words, he quietly slipped an envelope into He Jiangwo's pocket. Everyone pretended not to notice.
"Take it.
That place is almost deserted. Without this, your family won't survive." After a few polite words, the man left. To their surprise, Yu Lian came to see them at dusk, holding the child. She spoke bluntly, "Do you still want this child? Do you think raising him costs nothing?" Her heartless words made even the guards outside sigh. This woman truly knew how to make things worse for others. But little Ningen was the apple of his grandparents' eyes. There was no way they would let him go hungry. They handed Yu Lian their last bit of money, along with the envelope that hadn't even warmed in their hands. "Yu Lian, this is all we have left. Please take good care of Ningen. If we ever get the chance, we'll repay you." He Jiangwo said this openly, even in front of the officials from the investigation team, but Yu Lian seemed not to care. "Humph. Go ask your own family for help." She took the money, handed the child to his grandfather, and turned to leave. Before walking away, she added coldly, "It's getting dark. Don't let the child wander off. If he gets lost, it's not my problem." Behind her came her son's desperate cries, but Yulian hardened her heart and walked away quickly. It was the only way she could reunite with her husband. Lin watched her disappearing figure, the veins on his hands standing out, his eyes filled with cold fury. Little Inan, realizing his mother didn't want him anymore, cried uncontrollably. "Mom's a liar. She said she'd give me a big chicken leg and buy me a toy tonight." The child cried so hard that he fainted. Seeing her poor grandson, Liang began to cry softly too. She had never cried in her life, but now, in middle age, her family had fallen apart. The hard days ahead seemed endless, and even in their lowest moment, her greedy daughter-in-law had taken advantage of them. "Jangwo, what are we going to do now? Anan is still so young." From beginning to end, Jangwo never showed a trace of worry. From the moment he was arrested, he knew he had to endure this ordeal. Otherwise, the He family would have no future. He believed that after hardship comes happiness. As long as they held on, better days would come for their family. "Don't be afraid. As long as I'm here, I won't let you or our daughter suffer," he said. At 8 in the evening, the He family was taken away by the authorities and joined a large group boarding a train. The train moved slowly, stopping often. Many people got on and off along the way, but they remained seated, as if on a journey with no clear destination. During the 5 or 6 days on the train, Ningen cried more than 10 times, calling for his mother every day. Just now, Lin had scolded him, saying, "Your mother doesn't want you anymore. If you keep crying, I'll throw you off the train." His words only made the already frightened child cry harder. Xinglan glared at her brother. "You're being too harsh. The child was just left by his mother, and now you're saying things like that. He's only a little boy, he hasn't done anything wrong." Her nephew, usually so sweet, now looked pitiful, and as she spoke, tears filled her own eyes. Throughout the journey, the 4 adults of the He family spoke little, weighed down by heavy hearts. After more than a week of travel, switching between different means of transport, they finally arrived at Hongxing Farm by donkey cart. When they met the farm director, he didn't greet them kindly. The higher-ups had already called ahead to arrange their arrival. The farm happened to be busy, so having extra hands was convenient. "Follow me," the director said. They walked a long way and saw that the farm was huge, surrounded by newly cultivated fields stretching for hundreds of hectares. The so-called cattle shed was just a name, it wasn't really a place for animals. The He family was led to an unused warehouse. "It's early October now. Winter will come in a month or 2. You'll have to figure out how to get through it yourselves. Arrange your own living space," the director said. The warehouse was big enough for them, but there were no partitions, just an empty, open space. There were no windows, and the only light came through the broken tiles on the roof. "Thank you, sir," they said. Seeing that they were polite and humble, the director left them there, their former pride and status now meaningless. Before leaving, Director Neo reminded them, "Take a day to rest first. Starting tomorrow morning, come to my office to get your farm tools. I'll assign your work then." The farm has a cafeteria. Each person gets a fixed amount of food at set times. If you miss it, there's no extra. If it's not enough, you can buy more. You can also cook for yourselves if you want. The small red house on the far right has some unused tables, chairs, and benches. You can put together a set for eating. There are also bed frames there. After giving a few instructions, Director Neo left. The farm covered hundreds of hectares, but there weren't many workers. Even with the help of local farmers, they were still short-handed. Even those who came here with thoughts of money would lose that attitude after a month of hard work. The area was surrounded by wilderness, and wild animals sometimes appeared at night. Anyone who tried to run away would not end well. The farm had old rifles for emergencies. Anyone thinking of escaping had to consider how many lives they had. "Xiaoying, you and Lan clean up a bit. Let's get the beds ready." "Okay. And can you stand here and play for a while? Grandma and Auntie are sweeping. You wait by the door, all right?" Ever since his father had scolded him, Ningen had been quiet and unhappy, his lips pressed together. He nodded weakly and walked to the door, looking out at the unfamiliar surroundings, feeling uneasy. Liang wasn't used to hard work and was slower than her daughter, Xinglan. Mom, I'll fetch some water to sprinkle before sweeping. There's too much dust. Carrying an iron bucket from the storage room, Xinglan went out and asked several people for directions, but no one answered. Finally, a kind local person used hand gestures to show her the way. Following what she had seen others do, Xinglan managed to draw water successfully. But she clearly realized how unwelcome they were here because of their background. When she passed someone wearing a red armband earlier, she had hurried past in fear. She remembered how her whole family had once been interrogated in a dark room. Xinglan still couldn't understand it. Her family had always treated their workers well and paid them fairly, and the workers had been happy to stay. So, why had they been reported? Her father said it was because someone was jealous of their successful business in Yunqing. They had lived cautiously for decades, yet still couldn't escape their fate. After fetching the water, Xinglan returned to the storage room. She quickly sprinkled the water, took the small broom from her mother, and bent down to sweep. Her brother and father had already found some old furniture. Liang looked at her daughter, who never complained, and began to cry with heartache. Mom, please take a bucket outside and wipe the seat and bed frame clean. All right, I'll do it right away. Since her child was so strong, she couldn't fall behind either. In short, everyone had to face the truth. The He family had fallen. Days like this would last for years, maybe even for the rest of their lives. He Ningen stood at the door, watching the busy adults, still angry inside, especially at his father. Why did his father say he wanted to leave him behind? He hated his dad, and he hated his mom too. When he thought of his mother, he couldn't hold back his tears. From now on, he was a child without a mother. He would never see her again. As he thought about it, he began to cry louder, catching the attention of the He family members who were working. Anan, why are you crying again? Come here, let Auntie hold you. Xinglan brushed the dust off her clothes and reached out to hug her little nephew. The little boy hugged his aunt sadly. Auntie, no one wants me. Mom doesn't want me, and Dad doesn't want me either. Liang glared at her son. It's all your fault. The child is already heartbroken, and you're such an unfit father. Helan knew he was in the wrong. He had spoken too harshly to the child earlier. Daddy was wrong. I won't say that again. How about Daddy finds you 10 moms in the future? His words only made things worse, and He Ningen cried even harder. I'll never see my mom again. I only want my real mom, not a new one. Even He Jiangwo, who hadn't lost his temper when their home was taken away, couldn't stand it anymore. He kicked his son lightly and shouted, Is this how a father should act? If you make the child cry again, see what I'll do to you. The He family had to clean the house and comfort the child, and they lost track of time. By the time they realized it, the cafeteria had already closed. They didn't even have a sip of water to drink. That night, they lay on beds made of straw. None of the 4 adults could fall asleep. Outside, strange bird calls echoed in the dark, and sometimes the distant howl of a wolf came from the valley, sending chills down their spines. Even in his sleep, the grandson sobbed softly, and Li Ying's heart ached so much that she could hardly bear it. My poor grandson, having a mother who only cares about money and not her child.
Mom, stop saying that.
If Anin hears you, he'll get upset again. People naturally avoid trouble and seek comfort. Anyone with sense would understand that my sister-in-law is just a bit selfish, but she's only thinking about her own life. You're even defending her? Xinglan quickly denied it. She never liked her sister-in-law, who cared too much about money. Just the fact that she used underhanded means made Xinglan look down on her. But now, she was only trying to see things from a fair and balanced point of view. There were many people like that in the world, so having one nearby wasn't surprising.
Exactly.
She should have known what would happen when she married into this family.
Yes.
Yes. All right, enough talking about someone who has nothing to do with us. Go to sleep. We still have work to do tomorrow. Even as a grown man, he wasn't sure if he could handle the work ahead. It was better to rest early and save his strength. The next day, after going hungry for a whole day and night, the He family finally had their first meal in 2 days. He Jiangwo kept a serious face and told everyone to eat quickly. Even though they were starving, they forced themselves to eat the plain food in front of them. Little He Ningen, who didn't understand much, only shook his head slightly, but that small action made the others stare at him for a long time. If the child said something he shouldn't, the adults would be the ones to suffer. Normally, a child that young wouldn't have to come to the labor farm, but since no relatives or friends were willing to take him in, and they feared he might be mistreated, they brought him along. He Ningen quickly sensed that something was wrong. He picked up the dark, rough bun in front of him and took big bites. But tears rolled down his cheeks. He missed his mother. Liang felt sorry for them. She took the few coins and ration tickets she had left and handed 1 dime and 2 liang of grain tickets to her daughter. Go buy 2 vegetable buns. You and Unen can each have 1. He Xingwan took the money and went to the window to buy a bun. I didn't eat this. She took the dark bun from her nephew's hands and ate it herself, chewing and swallowing quickly. The food given out by the canteen couldn't be wasted. If anyone caught them wasting it, their family would be criticized again. Annen's face looked much better after eating the soft white bun. She took a bite herself, then handed it to her grandmother. Grandma, let's eat together. Liang shook her head. Grandma is full. You eat, and when you're done, we'll go to work. Okay. When the others finished eating and left, they packed up their lunch boxes and dishes. They went out, collected their farming tools. He Jiangwo whispered, from now on, let's not talk while eating. The more we say, the more mistakes we make. Everyone agreed. Just a moment ago, when the grandson shook his head, the people nearby looked like they wanted to scold them. Children speak without thinking. If he said something wrong, a scolding would be nothing, but losing one's life would be terrifying. After this experience, the He family realized that the days ahead would be difficult. After breakfast, everyone gathered in the farmyard. Work assignments began. As the lowest-ranked family on the farm, the He family naturally didn't get any easy tasks. Old Chin, you've been here the longest. Take this family to get familiar with the place. Go to the black water pond area and make sure it's cleaned up by the end of the day. You don't need to come back for lunch. Someone will bring food to you.
Got it.
Once the work was assigned, the team scattered and left the farm gate. After walking a long way, they saw many small figures scattered across the vast land. When no one else was around, Old Chin muttered, talk less, look less, just focus on your work. During the monthly meetings, just listen and nod. Don't think that staying silent will keep you safe. His voice was low but still clear enough to hear. When they reached the place, the 4 of them saw that it wasn't farmland at all. It was a large piece of untouched wilderness. Let's get to work. There are animals near the pond, wolves, bears, so be careful. The old man seemed numb to it all and started digging right away. Heelin looked at the tall weeds and, without hesitation, went to dig and pick up stones on the other side. Mom, we'll handle the weeds. He Xingwan picked up a sickle and began cutting, though her movements were clumsy and slow. Liang was even less skilled.
Anan, stay close to Grandma.
Don't run off. Okay. The little one carried a water bottle on her shoulder and followed her grandmother and aunt closely. When October passed, the long winter was about to begin. But that didn't mean they could spend the cold season comfortably on the vast, frozen plateau of the Northwest. There was still plenty of work to do in winter. He Jiangwo often asked Old Chin some questions. Old Chin answered carefully when he could and stayed silent when he couldn't. The winters here are long and freezing. You'd better buy a stove soon, and you'll need to gather your own firewood from the mountains. Fix the roof and the cracks in the walls too. The house is already drafty. You don't want the child to catch a cold. The nearest hospital is over 100 kilometers away. The farm has some medicine, but it might not be enough for a child. The old man spoke from years of hard-earned experience. Thank you, brother. Let's get back to work.